Chronic stress works exactly like a slow carbon monoxide leak in your home. You cannot smell it, you cannot see it, you feel slightly off, maybe a little foggy, a little tired, a little more forgetful than last year. And then one day the damage is already done. Once you see stress this way, you cannot unsee it. Because here is what nobody told you in school, at the doctor's office, or in any wellness magazine. Stress is not just a feeling. It is a biological weapon your own body fires at your brain every single day when left unchecked. In 2012, researchers at Yale University published findings that stopped the neuroscience world cold. They discovered that chronic stress physically reduces gray matter in the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that handles decisions, emotional regulation, and memory. We are not talking about feeling overwhelmed. We are talking about measurable structural brain tissue loss. Your hippocampus, the memory center, literally shrinks under sustained cortisol exposure. So the question is not whether stress is bad for you. The question is, how much damage has already happened and can you reverse it? Stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you will have the exact science-backed roadmap. Before you tell yourself this does not apply to you, let me give you some numbers. The American Psychological Association's 2023 Stress in America report found that 76% of adults reported at least one stress symptom in the past month. Headaches, fatigue, feeling nervous, feeling depressed. 76%. That is 3 out of 4 people watching this right now. And here is where it gets uncomfortable. Chronic stress does not look like a nervous breakdown. It does not look like crying at your desk. It looks like you. It looks like the high-functioning professional who cannot sleep past 4 a.m. It looks like the parent who snaps at their kids and cannot figure out why. It looks like the college student who studies hard but cannot retain information the way they used to. Neuroscientist Dr. Bruce McEwen at Rockefeller University spent decades studying what he called allostatic load, the cumulative wear and tear on the body and brain from chronic stress. His research showed that people under prolonged stress showed measurable cognitive decline years before they ever noticed any symptoms. That is the terrifying part. The damage starts silently, and the people most at risk are the ones who pride themselves on being able to handle everything. High achievers, caregivers, people who wear busyness like a badge of honor. Sound familiar? This is not about weakness. This is about biology. And biology does not care how tough you think you are. Warning number 1. You are probably producing cortisol right now without knowing it. Here is how this works, and pay close attention because this is the mechanism most people completely miss. Your brain has a threat detection system called the amygdala. In a genuine emergency, a car swerving toward you, a predator, a physical attack, the amygdala fires a distress signal. Cortisol and adrenaline flood your bloodstream, and your body goes into survival mode. Heart rate spikes, muscles tighten, blood flow rushes away from your prefrontal cortex, your thinking brain, and toward your limbs so you can run or fight. Perfect system, designed to save your life. The problem? Your amygdala cannot tell the difference between a lion and an email from your boss. It cannot distinguish between a physical threat and a mortgage payment. Every time you read a stressful news headline, sit in traffic, or replay an argument in your head, your amygdala treats it like a lion. Cortisol floods in. And when that happens dozens of times a day, every single day, the flood never fully recedes. A 2018 study published in the journal Biological Psychiatry found that people with chronically elevated cortisol had significantly smaller hippocampal volume than people with normal cortisol levels. Smaller hippocampus, less memory, slower processing. This is not a metaphor. This is a measurable physical change happening inside your skull right now if you have been under sustained stress. And most people have absolutely no idea. Warning number 2. Cortisol is only the beginning. What comes next is a chain reaction most doctors never connect for their patients. When cortisol stays elevated for extended periods, your immune system begins to malfunction. Specifically, it starts producing pro-inflammatory cytokines, signaling molecules that trigger inflammation throughout your entire body, including your brain. Neuroinflammation. That word should concern you. A landmark 2016 study from Ohio State University found that people who reported high levels of chronic stress showed elevated inflammatory markers in blood work that directly correlated with accelerated brain aging. Not aging by months, aging by years. Dr. Janice Kiecolt-Glaser, who led much of this research, described it as essentially pouring acid on your neural pathways in slow motion. Your neurons lose their ability to form new connections. The myelin sheath, the protective coating around your nerve fibers, degrades faster. Cognitive functions that should stay sharp well into your 50s and 60s begin declining in your 30s and 40s. And here is the cruel twist. The inflammation makes your stress worse. Because neuroinflammation affects the very brain regions that regulate emotional response, you become more reactive, more anxious, more easily triggered, which produces more cortisol, which produces more inflammation. It is a spiral with no natural exit ramp unless you deliberately intervene. And that is exactly what the third warning is about. Warning number 3. And this one might be the most dangerous because it hides inside something you are already struggling with. Stress destroys sleep, and destroyed sleep accelerates every single piece of brain damage I just described. Here is the mechanism. Your brain has a waste clearance system called the glymphatic system, essentially a biological dishwasher that runs primarily during deep sleep. While you sleep, cerebrospinal fluid flushes through your brain tissue and clears out metabolic waste products, including beta-amyloid plaques, the same plaques associated with Alzheimer's disease. When chronic stress elevates your cortisol at night, and it does because cortisol has a natural nighttime suppression that stress overrides, your sleep architecture fractures. You spend less time in deep, slow-wave sleep. The glymphatic system barely runs. Waste accumulates. Dr. Matthew Walker, neuroscientist and author of Why We Sleep, published research showing that even one night of poor sleep increases beta-amyloid accumulation by nearly 5% in key brain regions. Multiply that by weeks, months, or years of stress-disrupted sleep. The accumulation compounds. And here is the part that should make you stop and rewind this video. The people who are most convinced they are fine sleeping 6 hours a night are statistically the most cognitively impaired. They have lost the ability to accurately self-assess their own decline. Stress robs you of the very tool you would use to notice the damage. So why does this keep happening? Why do millions of intelligent, capable people walk straight into all 3 of these traps, cortisol flooding, neuroinflammation, and sleep debt, without catching it? The answer comes down to 3 seductive lies that modern culture has sold you. Lie number 1. Stress means you care. We glorify stress as proof of ambition. The hustle culture narrative tells you that if you are not stressed, you are not working hard enough. So you wear your cortisol like a trophy. Lie number 2, you will deal with it later. Stress feels temporary even when it is chronic. Every week feels like an exception, a big project, a family situation, a financial crunch. But the brain does not wait for your schedule to clear. It is being damaged in real time while you plan to relax next month. Lie number 3, rest is unproductive. Sleep feels like a luxury. Meditation feels indulgent. Recovery feels lazy. But here is what the science actually shows. A 2019 study in the journal Nature Human Behavior demonstrated that rest and recovery periods are when the prefrontal cortex consolidates new learning and rebuilds executive function. Rest is not the opposite of productivity. Depleted rest is the reason your productivity is declining. Every single one of these lies has kept you stuck in the cycle longer than necessary, and the exit is simpler than you have been led to believe. Here is what the research actually supports as the most evidence-based approach to reversing stress-induced brain damage, and I want to be very specific because vague advice is useless. Step 1. Prioritize deep sleep architecture, not just hours, quality. Research from UC Berkeley shows that magnesium glycinate supplementation taken 30 minutes before bed significantly improves slow-wave sleep duration. Keep your room at 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Eliminate screens 60 minutes before bed. This is not optional. This is when your brain cleans itself. Step 2. Activate your parasympathetic nervous system daily. The 4-7-8 breathing technique. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 7, exhale for 8. activates the vagus nerve, and measurably reduces cortisol within a single session, according to research published in Frontiers in Psychology in 2017. Do this twice a day. Step 3, and this is where the emerging clinical research is genuinely exciting. Consider adaptogenic herbs as a cortisol regulation strategy. Ashwagandha and Rhodiola rosea have been among the most studied natural compounds for HPA axis regulation. That is, the brain-body stress response system. A 2019 randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled trial published in Medicine found that ashwagandha root extract at 240 milligrams daily reduced cortisol levels by an average of 22.2% over 60 days. A 2009 study in Phytomedicine showed rhodiola significantly reduced cortisol response and improved. Remember back at the beginning, the carbon monoxide leak. The damage you cannot see, cannot smell, cannot feel until it is already significant. You now know exactly what the leak looks like on a neurological level. You know about the cortisol flood, the inflammation spiral, and the sleep debt accelerator. And more importantly, you know what the patch kit looks like. Deep sleep, parasympathetic activation, adaptogenic support, aerobic movement. The curiosity loop I opened at the start, can the damage be reversed, has an answer. Yes, partially and meaningfully. The prefrontal cortex shows neuroplasticity and can rebuild gray matter density with sustained intervention. The hippocampus can regrow volume with exercise. The glymphatic system can restore function with improved sleep quality. You are not a passive victim of your own stress response. You are someone who now has a structural understanding of what is happening and a clear, evidence-based protocol to change it. If this video helped you see stress differently, share it with one person in your life who is running on empty and thinks that is normal. That share might genuinely protect someone's brain health. And if you want to go deeper, the next video walking you through exactly how to build a cortisol regulation routine in 21 days is right here. Do not let the algorithm decide what you watch next. You decide.